Every time I tell myself I'm not going to overfill the waste container, I'm going to watch it carefully and make sure it doesn't overflow. Today, we're changing the transmission fluid in a 2012 Mazda MX-5 Miata with a 6-speed manual transmission. This is the after-work garage. For transmission fluid, or really gear oil since this is a manual transmission, I'm going with this full synthetic manual transmission fluid by Motocraft, which is a Ford brand, but when this car was made, Ford and Mazda still had a partnership, and there's a lot of Ford parts in this car, including the entire engine. Now, there's general consensus online and on Miata forums that this is the magic stuff to make this transmission run the best. And I can attest to this from my own experience. Changing over from the transmission fluid that came from the factory, the shifts are noticeably smoother, and I haven't had any problems so far, so I'm going to put this back in. My only problem with this transmission fluid is that it costs $22 per quart, and you need 3 quarts because the transmission takes 2.2 quarts, and I only bought 2 this time because, well, it's expensive and I still had a little left over from the last time I changed it. So let's get started. So we're under the car now. As you can see, the transmission's right there. We've got the cage that the drive shaft goes through coming out there. Engine's up front. Bell housing's down there. And this is what we're after. We have our drain plug right here, and our fill plug right here. And we're pretty much just gonna open it up, drain the oil out, and put new oil back in. Alright, these are 24mm sockets. Annoyingly, can't get anything up there. So what I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted by oil spilling everywhere is that this oil actually looks pretty good. It's a good sign. It's still got some life to it. There's no water in it, which is definitely a good sign. And it doesn't look super black. So looking at this drain bolt, you can see that there's a magnet on the end that's collected a bunch of metal shavings, and to me that looks pretty normal. As transmissions wear, little shavings come off, and it's the job of this magnet to pick them up so that they don't get recirculated back into the gears and act as an abrasive. But I'm definitely going to wipe that off. Just like with an oil drain plug, this drain plug has a crush washer on it. Now, they'd probably tell you to replace it every single time, but this one looks like it's in pretty good shape, and I'm going to reuse it. Again, probably not best practice, but as for getting oil back in there, it can be a pain in the butt, so I'm just going to use one of these little pumps. The other alternative, and what I did last time, is actually snaked a tube all the way down from the engine compartment and stuck it in there, because there's not really room to get a bottle up there and squeeze it in. I think this is going to be a little more elegant. So I'm going to put this entire quart in, and then the entire other quart, and basically keep pumping oil in until it starts running back out. Have you ever needed a lot of soap? Like, a lot of soap? I'd imagine that's like this. Alright, so oil's just starting to run back out of this hole. Tells me we're full. You can see this fill bolt also has a crush washer on it, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Just wiped it down, let the oil off, and you can tell it's the fill bolt because it doesn't have that magnet attached to the end. Alrighty, we're back together. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time on the After Work Garage.